Salaki. All right. Can got sound now? All right. Mic check. Okay. Salaki. I'm sorry about that. The water, Bayan. I know you was calling. I just couldn't answer right there, but you're right. The mic was off. So once again, just to repeat, just going to the title, in the spirit of Passover. Once again, we are approaching our Passover, and just want to kind of stay in the spirit a little bit, as well as bring out some key points dealing with the law concerning Passover. All right. So we're gonna do that again. So let's go back to stay in next. Read that again. 14.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
By ordinance forever. So now the Heavenly Father is telling us that we should keep this feast by an ordinance forever. All right. So that means that no matter once you find out about the Passover, because truly a lot of people don't even know about Passover. Okay. When they say Passover, they think of what? The so-called white Jews, the Amalekites that's over there. But they never correlate us as being number one, knowing their nationality. Number two, understanding that Passover was made for us. The Most High did those 10 plagues when we was in Egypt to grab not only the Egyptians' attention, but all the countries around Egypt at that time to show his power for his people. Elder Rasha went into the 10 plagues last Sabbath. Okay, did a heck of a job bringing out certain things that actually happened, as well as documented by a historian, the Josephus, right, to make things, to say that another recorded historical event that took place that said these things were true. Okay, so that just helped to keep us in spirit and help keep us understanding that when he said that, read that one more time for me.
Verse 14.
14.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations.
That's right. So it says we should keep it as a feast for a celebration. Go ahead.
Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
Right. The ordinances forever. So that means going through the bitter herbs, going through the lamb, the process of preparing the lamb, uh, as well as the wine that's included in as well. But in those doing that, we have to stay within the season as well. Okay, that season as well. Stay in 12 and read 24.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever.
Right. So it says now we should observe these ordinances, right, for thee and thy sons forever. Once again, just kind of staying in the spirit of Passover. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass when ye become to when ye become to the land which the Lord will give you,
Mm-hmm.
according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service.
Right. That we shall keep this service. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And people bowed the head and worshiped.
See, and people bowed the head and worship. Okay. So now it says right here, when it says, this is what the children are gonna ask. But right now, our children, they're not asking nothing. What may come up is Easter. Now, like I said before, they'll never correlate Passover with Easter, but Easter is in the Bible. And I think we're gonna end up getting to that in the book of Matthews anyway. But that's what it is. It's for us to understand and to pass it on from one generation to another generation. Okay, and it says we are to keep these things forever. All right. Let's go to the book of Numbers. Numbers. Like I said, this one, it's not going to be long. It's just kind of hitting certain points. But there's certain As I was going over it, that you just can't be avoided. And one of them was circumcision. Circumcision always kept coming up. Uh, once I started putting certain precepts and just kind of understanding uh, why the Most High. Uh, why the Most High had things the way that He did and have ordinances set up the way uh, He did things. Now, those things were uh, to test us as well, to see how much faith we have in Him. All right. What I said, Numbers 9 and verse 12. Let me make sure I'm there though. I'm trying to navigate. Numbers 9 and verse 12. Go ahead.
The book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 12. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it.
Right. So now that's one of the things that's key things that's dealing with the Passover. When you preparing your lamb, you're not supposed to break any bones of that lamb. So that's one of the ordinances also that's showing us too that we're supposed to prep that lamb and supposed to set him aside for X amount of days. And then leading up to that night, we're supposed to start preparing, slaying the lamb, as well as not breaking any bones. All right. So I just wanted to bring it out. I'm gonna bring out like certain little key things. Let's go back to Exodus. So we're not supposed to break any bones of the lamb during this process. Exodus chapter 16 and verse 16. Well, you cannot, that's not an offering that you can offer to the Most High God. It's just you got to figure out and get another lamb at that time. One of her questions for those online, Garah asks, what if one of the bones were broken? And you just have to start the process again, go get another lamb. And if you don't have another lamb, then you in trouble. You in trouble. I know. Right, right. Exactly. Elder Iroquois said that it happened. It happened to us one Sabbath. I'm sorry, not one Sabbath, one Passover. Um, a brother had cut the horns of the lamb that we had that Passover to try to fit him inside of the grill. Now, the horn is part of the bone because if you look at the skeleton, right, the horns are actually growing as like a bone, but it's just outside of the body of the animal. But that is considered a bone. Now, what we had to do at that time, and it was happening that night, what we had to do was set that lamb aside, and then we had to share just that one lamb for that household at that time. Okay, so it's very important that you understand. That's why it says the ordinances of this particular, right? Not the one that's right. Let me be clear. Right, right, right. Okay. So he told me to make it clear. So now, like I said, we set that lamb aside, and what we did was, get it straight, we had 3 lambs. So we had to partake. We had 3 lambs at 3 different homes. So we had to go to another home where they had the lamb and everything set up to partake into that particular Passover. All right. That lamb that where the horns was cut, we did not participate, or we did not cook that lamb at that time. We had to move and go to another Jake's home, and all of us shared the lamb that they had at that house. And that's scriptural because the Most High tells you that if the lamb be too big, be too that be too big, that invite your neighbor over to partake in also into that lamb during that time of Passover. Okay, so these ordinances are very, very crucial. So another ordinance and a law that we're going to bring out during Passover in the spirit of Passover. 16 and 16, Exodus.
The book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 16. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, and omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents.
Right, go ahead.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less.
Right. So he gathered some more, some less. So that's what we're supposed to do. It says that we're supposed to, gather and eat every man his omer. Go ahead.
And when they did meet it with an omer,
Mm-hmm.
he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating.
According to his eating. All right. Go ahead. One of the questions? Right. We ran it. Right. What if you can't get a whole? Well, one of the questions online is, what if you can't get a whole lamb? Okay. Now, we ran it. We have been buying chops from the store at one particular time for many years until we actually said, you know what, enough is enough, and we actually start to research and start look for farms that actually sold lambs and things like that. Now, to answer the question, now just by particular of what we did in the past, we tried to rehearse the righteous acts the best way we could. Okay, and you may have to get a lamb chop or things like that from the store. Now, remember, uh, a lot of us, didn't know, but let's get that. Let's get Judges real quick. Judges chapter 5. Let's get Judges. Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. Let me get it here too. Because like you say, we did it for years, but it come to a time where um we had to have faith and we went on that journey. The Most High provided. Okay, and the Most High provided, and then as we went on, the Most High had opened up more of our faith to a point where we found farms where sold lambs. We went through the process, and now we are determined. We won't go back to the lamb shops because we have options now. A lot of other sisters and brothers, they may not have that option. That we have to move on faith on that. We have to move on faith. Read 11.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water,
Mm-hmm.
there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
See, it says, there we shall rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. Go ahead.
Even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates.
Right. Then it said, then shall the people go down to the gates. Well, my thing is bringing out this certain scripture is to say that we shall rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. I hate to say this, but it's true. We're in captivity. We was ignorant at one point. Now we've been enlightened, right? So if your journey says that, you know what, I know a particular brother or sister that's actually going through the process of finding a lamb, then that may be an option. But we understand that a lot of Israelites don't have that option. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Let's go back to Exodus 16:16. Kind of fumbling right now. So y'all bear with me. Bear with me. Exodus chapter 16 and verse 16. Read that again.
The book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 16.
Mhm.
This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents.
Which are in his tents. So that's what we did. Like you said, we came together. If the lamb was too small, that was a good thing for the family, right? Then if the lamb was too big, then we moved on and invited others over for that particular night. Okay. All right. So like I said, let's get Genesis real quick. Like I said, let's get Genesis. And then we're gonna switch out a little bit once get settled in. Uh, Genesis chapter 17. and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee and will multiply thee exceedingly.
So now the key thing in this is that he made a covenant with Abraham. So I just wanted to bring this out because he said he made a covenant with Abraham. So let's find out what this covenant is. Go ahead.
And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations
And
have I made thee.
And Abraham was a father of many nations, but it's a particular son that the Most High chose out of Abraham's seed, which we know was Isaac. All right, we're gonna switch it out. You ready? All right. We still supposed to eat lamb on the Passover. Right. Well, I'm gonna get to that. I got some precepts on that. King Azariel, we did see your question, so I have a few precepts that I'm going further down in the lesson that would answer that. And I think one of the questions is that are we still supposed to eat the lamb uh, during Passover? Because I guess it's because of you can't actually go and get a live lamb, right? He didn't say that. Okay, that's different. Okay, cool. Right, supposed to eat lamb on the Passover. Okay, cool. Mhm. Okay, different question. Different question. So when in Exodus, I'm sorry. Yeah, Exodus 17. 17. Let's just start at one again.
Not Genesis.
I'm sorry, Genesis. Genesis. I'm looking right at it.
Book of Genesis, chapter 17, and
Yeah,
verse
verse
1.
1.
And when Abraham was 90 and 9, when Abraham was 90 years and 9, the Lord appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
Mhm.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
Okay.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name should be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee.
Okay.
And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make many nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant.
So now that promise has been continued because here we are today. We're reading about our forefather Abraham, and also we're reading about what? The covenant that he made with Abraham. And we learn about the covenant that he made with Abraham as well. Okay. Just keep that in mind because this covenant goes, uh, forever. Because the Most High said we are to keep these ordinances forever. Okay. Read on.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee.
Go ahead.
And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God.
Now let's jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations.
Go ahead.
This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
Right. So now here's the covenant of circumcision. Now, this is back in Abraham. Now, as we continue on, we're going to find out this is one of the stipulations that as an Israelite male, we are to be circumcised in order to partake into the Passover. Very, very important. And for some reason, even when you go from the New Testament as well as, I'm sorry, the Old Testament, so-called Old Testament, to the New Testament, that stipulation and that law and that covenant had to be on all males of the children of Israel. Now, as we go on, there's certain levels of faith that you have to have dealing with, quote unquote, our generation, our lifetime. Because I think I brought this up before when I did a lesson on Torah Tuesday about circumcision and how, I know men and that personally, and young men as well as older men have went through the process of getting circumcised, right? That was faith. That was a faith bound thing. This I'm talking about during our generational time, and they got circumcised so that they can partake in this particular feast day, which is one of the holiest days of, quote unquote, the Israelite nation. But they had that much faith to do it. Now, Brother Thumb just recently had a baby boy, right? And the thing is, I was asking, I think I was asking you or Rada, one of those about the price wise, right? Because for some reason, you see these other nations, they know, and they have a spirit on them, and it's asking us like, well, why do you want to circumcise the kid? A lot of them say that it's mutilation, to the kid, and this, that, and the other. And I believe at one time when I had my son, well, when my son was born, that we had him circumcised. It costed us about $100. So how much it cost you this time?
The price can vary. It's like anywhere between like $400 to $1,000, probably.
$400 to $1,000. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, something going on. They know that we didn't found out, and all of a sudden they trying to stop us from doing what this covenant that the Most High has placed upon us, the children of Israel. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Some insurance companies don't cover it because they're considered like cosmetic. So it's almost like you're going to get it. They're classified the same as somebody getting a nose job or Botox. Yeah. So they won't cover it, and that's why we got to pay out of pocket.
Elder Iacor was saying that a lot of insurance won't even cover it nowadays because they consider it as cosmetic, but it's like, come on. And then they ask you a lot of questions. Why did they ask you any questions?
Yeah, they make it difficult for you to be able to get it in general, unless you do the circumcision there at the hospital, like the first day. Anything afterwards, most doctors won't even do it. You have to find a particular doctor to do it for you, and no insurance covers it, so you have to pay.
Wow.
They don't even consider the eighth day. Yeah. Just first day.
If you do it the first day, they'll cover it.
Yeah.
If you don't after that, you got to come out of pocket.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Delivery, the hospital, everything, and it's all at once. So if you do it separately, that doctor, he's not going to get paid for it.
Right.
You say we do it in 8 days. He's like, all I do is delivery.
Right.
And a lot of places won't do it on the eight days later, and unless you do it the first day, a lot of doctors won't even do it at all.
Yeah.
If they're infant. If you're an adult, it's a little bit different, but as an infant, it's very strategic. You have to find a way to get it done.
But we need our own hospital.
Exactly.
Own doctors. Own nurses.
I heard that, Rasha.
4 years ago, he paid $3,000.
Who? 3 G's? Wow.
Mm.
One of the brothers, Bayan in Detroit, said he paid 3 G's. Wow. That's steep. How much did you pay Shalat? Wow. Brother Salak said he paid $750. He did it when he was older, but still $750 though. It's like, man. So, if anything, Israelites who run across this video, hey, I tell you this, pass it on in the future that if a woman, is in birth, having a baby boy, it's best for them to get it done right then and there, because they're making it so hard for us to even go back and conduct what the good Lord has set before his children, and that is to get the male circumcised. So anyway, let's keep reading. Where we at?
Verse 11.
Verse 11? Yeah, because I'm going to read down to 12.
I'll start at verse 10. Verse 10. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee.
Right. So now that's the reason why we do it, is because this covenant is between us, no other nations but the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Okay, so now that's a token between the Most High God, creator of heaven and earth, and all things that are in it. You know, just recently they had their little eclipse, right? Well, the Heavenly Father, but he said he formed the sun, he formed the moon, the firmament, the stars, and everything that's there. So now he made this covenant between his children, us, the children of Israel. Okay, read on.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you.
Now, I think, Rasha, you had mentioned saying that vitamin K is built up inside of the male within that 8 days.
What happens is that particular day,
Uh-huh.
the 8th day, is when vitamin K is at its peak during a man's entire lifespan.
Okay.
So that 8th day, that's why he chose the 8th day.
That's why he chose the 8th day.
I mean, we have vitamin K, but it's at its peak when the child is 8 days on, so there won't be no complications.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. A few years back you mentioned that. Yeah. So that 8th day, okay, very important. Go ahead.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed.
Which is not of thy seed. Okay. So that 8th day is very important because Most High chose that day to every male to be circumcised. Okay, so let's jump over. Let's go to Exodus real quick.
That's why he said, just add on to it. So, you know, it prevent hemorrhaging, and that's when blood clot is much more, you know, conducive for that day. So he does everything for a purpose and a specific reason. He just didn't choose it randomly. You know, he said the 8th day. He wanted to protect that child on that 8th day to have him circumcised, so no complications.
And like I said, he formed the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in it, but he also made our bodies. So he knows how it functions.
You know,
okay. He knows what to put in it. You know, that's why he gave us dietary laws. You know, he even tells us how to clean our bodies. Okay, there's certain laws on how you're supposed to keep yourself, you know, free from other things and other elements. Okay, so like the Elder Rasha said, hey, everything is done for a purpose. Now the thing is that other nations and other captivities and hard-headed of Israel, we come along and we mess things up, put it that way. We just mess things up, and all of a sudden now we're subject to these other nations and their defiled ways, just like what we were in Egypt. Okay, so let's get Exodus chapter what was it? 17? No, I'm sorry, Exodus 12 and 43. 12 and 43. Feeling more relaxed now. Get the bugs out. 12 and 43. So that covenant, right? That circumcision that the Most High made with the children of Israel. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 43. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof.
Go ahead.
But every manservant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof.
So now here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna jump a little bit, but I just want to make go in Genesis. I just wanted to jump in Genesis to show that covenant is still with the children of Israel, all the way. Like you said, now we're dealing with the Passover. Now we read earlier. It said that this is the ordinance that he made with us forever. Okay, that was in the book of Exodus chapter 12 and verse 14. So now we come to a point where he's giving stipulations and saying that every male child has to be circumcised. Go ahead.
Verse 45. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof.
Right.
In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad. Out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
So now that's what we read early. Neither shall we break a bone thereof. All right. But that circumcision's still there. And guess what? Throughout our nations and throughout all of our males within the children of Israel, those things have to be done before they participate in a Passover. Go ahead. And like brother Elder, I of course said no leftovers. So then you're gonna take a little piece home. Oh, that lamb, particularly this year, was good. No, no, it has to be. You cannot take it home. Not only that, it has to be burned at the end of the night. It cannot stay over till morning. Right? Once you start to do the ordinances of having a live lamb, but that also goes with if you, like I said, unfortunately, happen to get a piece of lamb and actually from the store and do the ordinances, whatever's left over, even the bones have to be burned that night. Okay. Sorry to break you off. Go ahead.
Verse 47. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it.
All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. Now, there's also stipulations about women. Women cannot be on their cycle and attend the Passover. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Go ahead.
And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near it and keep it.
Right. So now when it says the stranger, now we're talking about Israel. Okay. The stranger is like a brother who don't really know of his nationality, but comes to the fruition of understanding that he is Israel, and he has to partake to the Passover. That means that he has to be circumcised. That's the stranger that they're referring to. I'm gonna get that in Leviticus. Matter of fact, go to Leviticus chapter 25 and let's do that. That light keep going out, huh? Leviticus chapter 25 and read 25. Find out the stranger. Let me grab it real quick on the screen. Kind of slow on the draw on the screen, y'all. So y'all bear with me. All right. Okay, I'm with you.
All right. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25, and verse 25.
I mean, it's 35. Try 35.
Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger.
Oh, though he be a what?
Though he be a stranger.
See, though he be a stranger. Go ahead. But it said at the top, it says, if thy brother wax poor. So now it's letting you know that this stranger is an Israelite. Go ahead.
Though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
That he may live with thee. So I just wanted to bring that out. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 12. Though he be a stranger, but it said in the front, it says, if thy brother wax poor. All right. We left 45. 12 and 45. Okay, give me 1 minute. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 45. A foreigner and a hired servant shall eat not thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out the flesh abroad out of the house. Neither shall ye break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land.
Okay.
For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Right. So now I like when it says, but he shall be as one born in the land. Because you got to understand this too, that we were born here in America, right? So let's say if things were in their proper order and you had Israelites there in Jerusalem, but you have, let's say, us born here in America, right? And then we go back to Jerusalem to have the Passover, right? We would be considered as a stranger because we wasn't born in the land. But here it's telling you that he will be like one that is born in the land, but the stipulations of circumcision had to be done. So just keep that in mind as an example. Okay. Was that all of that?
Verse 48, yeah, unless you want to go.
Just finish it out. Yeah, you finish it out.
Okay. Verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you.
See, that one law is supposed to be among the whole children of Israel. Because we know that, throughout history, Israel has been scattered, even to this very day. And we do understand that as being scattered, then there's certain things that we just can't do under this captivity. I mean, we do our best, and some of us has accomplished it, but there's certain things that we just can't, accomplish or do. And to be honest with you, that day is coming soon too, as well. as things escalate now, they just said that Iran just sent some drones towards Israel right now, the land of Israel. I mean, things are escalating to a point where, we're looking like, okay, it's gonna come a time where we're gonna have to uh, pretty much, scramble around to find us a lamb. With the social credit scores and all of this other things that's going on. I mean, they're gonna make things very hard for Israel, very hard for Israel, especially for those, who's trying to really keep it the ordinances the way that the Most High put it in the scriptures. So it's gonna be very hard for us, but we're gonna overcome because the Most High always finds a way for his children to do his laws, period. So we're gonna find a way, okay. So you know what? So now I just want to jump into the New Testament just to bring out certain uh, Passover situations that to show that even though we kept it in. Matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. You know what? I want to read this right here. I want to read this right here. I know I quite don't like these books, but these books they be on point. It's just a reference, reference of the Bible. Yeah, but it was something that caught my eye. Right? Quite sure they can't see it, but it was something that really caught my attention um, at the time. Yeah, at the time, and I want to read this because Anyway, let's read and see what it says. We don't go into it.
In the wilderness and the promised land.
Huh?
That's what I was trying to look at real quick.
Inside of the
Inside of the Scriptures, Volume 2.
All right, Inside of the Scriptures.
We leave it at the Inside of the Scriptures, Volume 2.
And it's funny that since you said that, I'm gonna give you a story behind it. There was a brother years ago. He was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was trying to get him to get this red letter Bible that Rashad be always talking about, right? So instead, he ended up bringing me these 2 volumes of book, Inside of the Scriptures, and as I was reading it, I mean, it really there were certain things that really profound that made me think and made me even research things a little bit more and more. So I like it. I mean, it's got the bones in it, but I'm old enough and been around enough to understand. Okay, this is wrong. Let me correct that within my thoughts. So, all right, go ahead.
In the wilderness and the promised land. Only one Passover celebration in the wilderness is mentioned.
Right. So now hear that he said only one Passover was mentioned in the wilderness, and I was like, let me go check this out because is this right or not? And come to find out, it's right. Only really one Passover was done but not even in the wilderness, but us coming out of Egypt. Okay, go ahead.
Numbers 9:1-14. The keeping of the Passover during the wilderness journey likely was limited for two reasons.
So now it's going to give 2 reasons why that commentary said that. Go ahead.
Yahweh's original instructions were that it must be kept when they reach the promised land.
Right. So now it said that it must be kept. It must be kept in the promised land in Jerusalem. Now there is doctrines out there saying that you cannot do the Passover unless you do it in Jerusalem. So I was thinking about that, and I said, "Nah, that's not true. That's not true." And I said, "Well, only precept I can come into my mind is what Christ said." So hold that, and let's get St. John. And if any brother got another scripture, that's cool too. St. John chapter 4 and verse 19. See, that's why I like it, because it kind of keeps me on my toes and it keeps me thinking as well. And I'm like, nah, that's not true. As far as like we can only do the Passover, what's it, St. John?
Mm-hmm.
We can only do the Passover in Jerusalem, right? And
19 and 20.
let me get this right.
21.
I want 4 and yep, we want to start at verse 19. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, so we're gonna get it right out of Christ's mouth. Okay, go ahead.
Book of St. John, chapter 4, and verse 19. The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Right, because earlier, when you read up early in 18, he told the woman how many how many husbands she had. So we know that there's a law saying that if you lie with a man, if a woman lies with a man, if a man lies with a woman, right, that woman becomes your wife, right? So now he gave a prophecy of letting this woman know that she have had 5 husbands. So that means that she laid with 5 men. Okay, just you know, just to bring that out in verse 18. Go ahead. That's why she said that I perceive that thou art a prophet, right? Because he told prophecy about her life. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place wherein men ought to worship.
Right. So right then and there, I mean, I remember years ago somebody brought that out, and they were saying this is the reason why we can't do the Passover. But now, also keep in mind that there was a doctrine out there saying that this woman was of another nation. She was an Israelite because she was in Samaria. That's untrue as well, because as you see, it says our father worship in this mountain, right? And say that Jerusalem is the only place. So why would she even say Jerusalem if she was in Samaria? When you look at the distance on the map, you would see that there was a great distance between Jerusalem and Samaria. Okay, the area. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Yahushua saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
See, that's what he told her. The hour cometh we will no longer worship in Jerusalem. Okay, neither will she be worshipped, like you said, as our fathers did, and here we are today. But when we read earlier, it said that this covenant was an everlasting covenant, right? And then he gave the ordinances to Moses and Aaron, and also he's saying that, listen, this Passover, I want you to be as a memorial so that when you can tell your kids why you guys are conducting these particular feast days as well as the ordinance of the Passover. Okay. Start at 21 again.
Verse 21. Yahushua saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
See, for salvation of the Jews, keep going.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when true worshipers shall worship the Father in truth and in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
That's right, and that's what we're doing now. We had a men's class earlier, and I told Rasha, hold up on that precept, because I'm gonna bring it out. And it's true, because he said now he's looking for the true worshipers. Now, if you really look at it, what's going on right now in our lifetime, right? And they just had they quote unquote Easter, but are they true worshipers? I mean, how can they be when they're actually doing things in a Christian kind of way with Easter? The true worshipers know that during this season, not Easter, but Passover season, is the things and the ordinance we're supposed to conduct, like removing leaven out of the house, staying away from leaven for 7 days, coming together and feasting with one another on the last day. So now these are the true worshipers that Christ is talking about right here. And he came right out of his mouth. He said that neither you or your fathers, he will actually do these ordinances in Jerusalem, after the destruction and the scattering of the children of Israel. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 24. Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Spirit and in truth. That's right. Because now we know the truth now. That's why we do what we do. That's why we remove all the things out of the house. That's why we calculate and find out, okay, right after the spring equinox, we're looking for that new moon. Okay. And when we find that new moon, that dark moon, then we count. We start our count from there, 15 days. And then we're also looking at the moon that the Most High created, and waiting for it to be in its fullness so that we can continue on with our Passover. Okay, keep reading.
The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things.
So he said he would tell us all things. Read on.
Yahushua said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he.
Am he. So it came right out of his mouth. And here we are, quote unquote, 2024, understanding that the Passover season is upon us. That's why I said in the spirit of Passover. And we're going to conduct the righteous acts that consist of this particular feast day, okay, and holy convocational day. Okay, that was all of that. Let's go back and read this again. Yeah, got one precept. Joshua chapter. Whoops, I'm going there. Yeah, that's okay.
Hold up.
Yeah, we're gonna hold
All
out.
right,
Let's
I
go
get
back
it.
to that.
All right. In the wilderness and in the promised land. Only one Passover celebration in the wilderness is mentioned. The keeping of the Passover during the wilderness journey likely was limited for two reasons. Yahweh's original instructions were that it must be kept when they reached the promised land.
Go ahead.
Those born in the wilderness had not been circumcised.
Whoa, that's the key. Another thing that made me think. It says those that what? Read that again.
Those born in the wilderness.
See, those that were born in the wilderness, go ahead,
had not been circumcised.
had not been circumcised. Now, like I said, I'm bringing this out because I'm reading, trying to put together certain precepts, but it stimulates my thoughts. I'm like, wow. So that 40 years in the wilderness, right? Certain men was not circumcised. So that covenant that he made with Abraham had to be fulfilled. And then when it read up earlier, it says that what about that Passover? It says it wasn't done in the wilderness.
Only the Passover, only one Passover celebration in the wilderness is mentioned.
So I was like, wow, only one Passover was mentioned. And then they read, like I said, he read a little further down because the men wasn't circumcised. So the Most High hold off on all that, on the Passover during the wilderness. And we're going to get more to that in the book of Joshua, which Elder Iroquois had mentioned. He had a precept in Joshua chapter 5. So we're going to go to Joshua chapter 5 and verse 1, but not just yet. Okay, so read that again, how they wasn't circumcised in the wilderness.
Those born in the wilderness had not been circumcised, whereas all male partakers of Passover had to be circumcised.
See, had to be circumcised. All right, so they had to be circumcised. And I think I jumped ahead because I wanted to also bring out, matter of fact, I can do that by saying that we can't fulfill the feast days only in Jerusalem. So let's get Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30. Right. I got to do this. I forgot I'm online. Let's get Baruch. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Because I know I had 2 and 30. Yes, 2 and 30. But let me also, this particular site.
Another side.
Well, it should be here though. This I'm saying it should have the apocrypha in it though. And now I'm saying that it don't. I thought I had the apocrypha in this one.
Yeah,
Is it?
Two. Yeah, there's two. It's the KJV standard.
Oh. So where to click
you
it?
could type it right here and try and see.
And see what it come up?
Maybe.
Nah, it's just gonna give you the site though. It's gonna give you the site. Sorry about that. Yeah, it ain't gonna do it. That's okay. I'll just come up out of it. But I don't think I have one of those sites that have the apocrypha in it. All right, y'all bear with me now. I'm not computer savvy. Okay.
So
There's
2 versions of it.
Uh-huh.
At the top of here.
Okay.
Type it in again.
Type it in.
You did.
Here. Okay. I think I did, didn't I? You seen it?
Yeah. Go back.
Let's see. Oh, here we are. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Past it.
I ain't that computer savvy yet. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right.
Get it.
I'm just slow on the draw a little bit. Let's see, 30.
Yeah.
Slow on the draw, but I'm working on it, y'all. Working on it.
The book of Baruch, chapter 2, and verse 30.
Right. So now we're just making a point that, uh, like I said, there's doctrines out there that say that you can't keep the feast days only. You can only keep the feast days only in Jerusalem. So I'm just bringing out certain precepts to show you that once the children of Israel were scattered wherever they was at, and we knew about the ordinances and we knew about the feast days and the holy days, we kept them as we are doing today. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
See, we shall remember ourselves, which we're doing now. That's what we're doing. So we're remembering ourselves and remember the ordinances as well as our holy convocational days. Go ahead.
And shall know that I am the Lord their God.
Mm-hmm.
For I will give them an heart and ears to hear.
Right. And we did hear because we didn't know, but a brother had enlightened us. It's like we're doing now. And then once we have been enlightened, then what we did, we go for it, we researched, and we found out how these things are supposed to be done and when they're supposed to be done. You know, scriptures tell you so you're supposed to do the feast days and the holy days in their seasons. So that's what we had to do. We had to start the research, and we come together, and brothers come together, and we share like we usually do the information, and things prosper, and the Most High bless us, and He gives us that understanding. All right, go ahead.
Verse 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity.
Right. So now here we are. We're praising Him in the land of our captivity. Read on.
And think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and their wicked deeds. For they shall remember of the ways of their father, which sinned before the Lord.
Absolutely. And that's what we did. So to go even further, Lord, with the question online saying that, if you don't have a live lamb, then you do the best you can. The Most High is not going to, if you know about it, you think the Most High is going to say, well, you knew about it. You just couldn't get a live lamb, but there was other options. See, that's why I said rehearse the righteous acts in the book of Judges, chapter 5. So it's just certain things, man, that we have to stay focused on and keep in mind that the Most High has made a covenant with us. So he's on our side. He's going to bring us through. He's going to bring us through. And then with the faith, it continues to build on, and we're able to move on to bigger, right? And bigger and better ways of actually fulfilling what thus said the Lord. All right. Was that all of that? That was all of that. Right? Let's get on Tobit. Stay right there. Let's find out if Tobit did also the commandments for the holy days outside of Jerusalem. Let me get Tobit chapter 2 and 1.
Book of Tobit, chapter 2.
1 minute. Okay, go ahead.
Book of Tobit, chapter 2, and verse 1. Now, when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost.
So now we have the feast of Pentecost. Go ahead.
Which is a holy feast of 7 weeks. And there was a good dinner prepared for me, in the which I sat down to eat.
Go ahead.
And when I saw the abundance of meat, I said to my son, go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren, who is mindful of the Lord. And lo, I tarry for thee.
Right. So now here we dealing with Tobit. That's dealing because Tobit was a righteous brother. When you read a little bit more about him, he's always went in and gave charity to our people. He also they told them not to bury our people if they find them, dead, laying in the streets and things like that. So Tobit went out and he did that. He charity. He would bury our brothers or our sisters who was in need. But anyway, I just wanted to bring out Tobit was actually fulfilling the law, and he was actually conducting and having Pentecost, outside of Jerusalem. Chapter 1. What was that? Okay, keep reading it.
Book of Tobit, chapter 1 and verse 1. The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiah, the son of Ananiel, the son of Aduel, the son of Gabriel, the seed of Asiel of the tribe of Naphtali, who in the time of Messer, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of Tisbe, which is at the right hand of the city, which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee, above Asher.
Mhm.
I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation who came with me to Nineveh, into the lands of the Assyrians.
Right. So now he was in the land of the Assyrians. So outside of Jerusalem, so then he was conducting, and he knew of the holy days, right? And he done them outside of Jerusalem in Assyria. Okay. So we just wanted to bring that out. We just wanted to bring that out. Let's go back to the book here. That's a good precept because he actually tells you where he's at, as well as that even through his captivity, he knew of the holy days and he fulfilled the law. Okay. What we left off
Here?
Yeah.
Those born in the wilderness had not been circumcised, whereas all male partakers of Passover had to be circumcised.
Had to be circumcised. Now let's go to Joshua. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Let's go to Joshua, that chapter 5. And all right, Corey, keep your precept because it may not be what I have, but we sure going to Joshua.
5 now.
Joshua 5, and I'm gonna start at 1.
Yeah. Gotcha. Book of Joshua, chapter 5, and verse 1.
Right, because remember he said that there was only one Passover that was done in the wilderness because the males weren't circumcised. Okay. What always happens when I go live? When I go live, I don't know what happens.
The book of Joshua, chapter 5, and verse 1.
All right.
And it came to pass when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was their spirit in them anymore, because of the children of Israel.
So now all of these nations, when they seen the children of Israel coming, it said that their heart melted. Why? Is because they seen what great wonders the Most High done for us in Egypt. Like I said before, it was taking place in Egypt, but believe me, Egypt is huge. So they seen all of these things, and also they heard of these things. So when they seen the children of Israel coming, they were like, "Uh-oh, here comes trouble." Like always. If we gathered together in one spot, the first thing they do is like, "Uh-oh, something about to jump out, something about to go down." And unfortunately, it's in our wickedness. But once we're in our righteousness, they're really gonna know. Okay, really gonna know. So their heart melted. Verse 2.
Verse 2. At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, "Make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time."
See, the second time. So now we knew that there was an ordinance, a covenant that was made with Abraham. So that was the first time. But then as time went on and generations went on, then Israel, all gathered together, had to be circumcised a second time during the time of Joshua. Just like I had mentioned earlier about certain brothers who had the faith. And once they found out, they went and had this procedure done so that they can attend the Passover. Because if you look at it, the Passover also is a covenant as well. Okay, read on.
Verse 3. And Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins.
Now that must have been tough because I'm quite sure Salak, they gave you some anesthesia, right? Yeah. Could you imagine not having that? But our people, they probably had some herbs that they, smashed up and numbed the skin around it. You know what I'm saying?
That's how they do it with the baby. You can't give them any anesthesia, so you got to put numbing. That's all you really do. Yeah, you just put numbing on it, and that's it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. By being a young age, it makes a lot of sense. They didn't put you to sleep, right, Salak?
No, that would hurt.
Was the needles, huh? Well, of course. and then afterwards,
No, cool.
you was cool afterwards.
A lot of Vaseline.
Brother said he used a lot of Vaseline. But yeah. But I just wanted to bring this out to show you what how the Lord prepared us. So even in the wilderness during Joshua time, that covenant still had to be fulfilled. All right, start at 2 again.
Verse 2. At that time the Lord said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of foreskins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise.
So now it's going to tell you the reason why Joshua did the circumcision. Now, like I said, I just wanted to bring out certain laws and ordinances dealing with the Passover. But this took me, like I said, I couldn't get around the circumcision, which rightfully so, because that's what the covenant the Most High made with us. But now it's going to tell you the reason why he circumcised the children of Israel. He said the second time. Go ahead.
All the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way,
right
after they came out of Egypt.
There you go. So he had to sift. He had to let this process go through. Go ahead.
Now all the people that were come out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, they had not circumcised.
They had not circumcised. So now going back to the book, when it says that only one Passover that was done in the wilderness, I said, it makes sense when I read Joshua. Okay, because like I said before, Joshua had to do it the second time. Go ahead.
For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord swore that he would not show them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers, they would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey.
Mm-hmm. See, that was flowing with milk and honey. So keep reading verse 7.
And their children, whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised. For they were circumcised because they had not circumcised them by the way.
See, but they had not circumcised them by the way. Keep reading.
And it came to pass, when he had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their place in the camp till they were whole.
Exactly. Like Salak said, a lot of Vaseline. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off you. Mm-hmm. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month on the 14th day of the month at even, in the plains of Jericho.
There you go. And we still keeping it on the 14th day, okay, at even. So all this is still set in place. It's still being fulfilled in our generation, and it will continue on to be fulfilled in our generation based upon the understanding that we have now. So we're to pass that on, and like I said before, until Christ comes back. But like this book, it made me think the book is insight of the scriptures, and it really made me think about it and go a little deeper into it. And I'm like, okay, makes a lot of sense. And there's some other things too I would like to bring out, but for the sake of time. But read on. We're gonna read to 12,
verse 11. I heard Jericho. Huh?
That's true. That's true. Brother Iroquois just brought out saying that another point to point out here in Joshua is that the Passover was kept, and they went in Gilgal, right? That's not in Jerusalem, but it still was kept. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Verse 11. And they did eat of the corn, of the old corn of the land.
10 again.
Verse 10. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even, in the plains of Jericho.
See, in the plains of Jericho. Go ahead.
And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the self same day.
Right. So now they even made the unleavened cakes as well. That's part of the 7-day Feast of Unleavened Bread. Go ahead.
And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land.
Now that's interesting because it said the manna. So all that time they still was eating manna. But then he said up earlier, he said that he would take the reproach of Egypt off of us. That was up earlier.
Mhm.
So that
Verse
was one
9.
of the approach. What was that?
Verse 9.
That verse 9 right there. He said he will he said, and this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt off of thee. So when he did that, then it said that in verse 12 that the manna had ceased. So what nation on this face of this earth that can say that the Heavenly Father fed them with manna?
Mhm.
None. That's
Yeah.
also a great, I would say, ordinances, not ordinances, but a great feat that the Most High did for the children of Israel. Which also we have to keep in mind that in the future, our future, when famine hits the land, the Most High will provide for his children once again.
Mhm.
Who's to say that all break loose, hell break loose, Most High chosen who he's going to chosen out of the children of Israel? Wherever we at, we're stuck. There's no food. Everybody's starving. At this point, I'm talking about our future because that's what it's leading up to be. Because if they do launch these rockets and destroy, it's going to vegetation is going to be completely destroyed. But the Most High, the Israelites that He's chosen, start to produce manna again, and then we're the only nation on the face of the earth that is actually eating and eating properly. You know, the other nations may be eating because they still going to be around, but whatever they can find or whatever they can scrounge around or whatever they put on quote unquote stocked in their stock houses, and you know, as preppers or whatever the case may be. So Most High still got us. That's something to think about. Okay. Okay. Rasha got a piece of
65 from Isaiah 13.
So we're gonna go to book of Isaiah, chapter 65.
Mm-hmm. Verse 13.
65, verse 13. Almost there. All right.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 65, and verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, Behold, my servant shall eat.
So my servant shall eat. Go ahead.
But ye shall be hungry.
See, the whole world, they're going to be hungry. But his servants shall eat, those who he have chosen out of the children of Israel. We know that the Persians got to go through as far as the 2/3 and the 1/3. But here, Isaiah's prophesying said, listen, my servant shall eat. Go ahead.
Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
Right. And the whole world is going to be ashamed because they did not give the children of Israel their glory, right? That our God have saved us and preserved us at the time that, you know, our generation. So right then and there, good precept, you know, that he's saying that his servants shall eat. Right? So let's go back to Joshua and read how his servants ate in the wilderness.
Book of Joshua, chapter 5, and verse 12.
Go ahead.
And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
I think I'm moving too fast. Wait a minute, brother. What happened here? I don't know what happened here. What happened here? I think I hit something. I hit something, y'all. Oh, here. Okay, I got you. Where you at? 12? That's what happened when you go live. Go ahead, Ike.
Book of Joshua, chapter 5, and verse 12. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna anymore,
See, neither have the children of Israel manner anymore. Go ahead.
but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Most High will provide, like we said in Isaiah. He said, "My servants shall eat." Okay. So let's go into Kings. I just wanted to bring out was that which one you had in Joshua? That was one. Okay, cool. Let's go in Kings because now I just want to bring out during our time of the Passover, how generation after generation, like he said, as it said in Genesis, it said um, what is why are we doing this, right? So as we travel down from Joshua, now let's go in the book of Kings, Second Kings, chapter 23, and find out when they start reading the book, which is the scriptures, how they received and carried out the Passover. Second Kings, I got down. Let me get 35. Yeah. I'm sorry, Second Kings 23. I'm sorry, Second Kings 23, and we're gonna start at 1.
Book of Second Kings, chapter 23, and verse 1. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant which was found in the house of the Lord.
Okay, so now, like you said, we're still in Jerusalem at this time. So yeah, Passover was conducted in Jerusalem when they found. Okay, verse 3.
Verse 3. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord.
Right. So now, as we read in chapter 2, it said that he read the words of the book of the covenant. Right. Go ahead.
To walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. All the people stood to the covenant.
To the covenant. Okay, let's drop down. Stay in 23. Drop down to 21.
Verse 21. And the king commanded all the people, saying, keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of this covenant.
Right. So now that's what we're doing. As we found out about Passover in this book, we decided, okay, it's time, we have to keep this holy day. Not only that, but it's the beginning of our new year. Right? It's the beginning of our new year. So now, how many millions, and let's say I'm putting in billions of people out there don't even understand that around Passover season, that it is a new year. A couple of weeks, what was that? A week back? It's been about a week now. Hasn't it been about a week since the new moon?
Yeah, almost.
Been about a week,
a couple of days,
right?
Yeah.
So I went back and I started wishing people Monday of the week. When I went back to work and seen my mother, other people that I was within that span of that week, and was saying, "Hey, Happy New Year." They looked at me like I was crazy, and I'm like, "No, seriously, Happy New Year." And I had to go into details and explain to them that, how can you have, a new year in the winter season, so on and so forth, and how things are today, which is, spring, with the things are springing up. Right now, we got rain. So anytime California get rain like this, when that sun dew comes and that transition starts to happen to the leaning towards the spring and the summer season, everything out here starts to grow. I mean, you look at our freeways, which we own a lot. The weeds start growing all up and down the freeways. We know the freeways is vast, but they don't have enough people to actually cut all of the weeds. So a large portion of the freeways here in California, weeds just start growing all over everywhere. Okay, but once again, I start wishing people a Happy New Year, especially those who I kind of share this word with, and they look and they, how can blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, fine, just know it's a new year, just to know it's just a new year. Okay, so get back to what we said.
Verse 21. And the king commanded all the people, saying, Keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of this covenant.
As it written as a book in this covenant. Go ahead.
Surely there was not holding such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel, nor of the kings of Judah.
Absolutely. When you read further, they threw a wing in. I mean, they went all out on this one. 320, what's that? What you at, 23?
Yeah.
They read 23.
Verse 23. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to the Lord in Jerusalem, moreover, the workers with familiar spirits.
Oh, not I just wanted 23. Not 23. Yeah. So that's what happened. They threw a wing thing. They threw one of the grand finale of a Passover that's in our history. So that goes to show you that, like I said, that covenant will be with us. And that the Most High made as an everlasting covenant. We are proof today that that covenant still exists. Still exists. Let's get Second Chronicles. Go ahead.
So after a male is circumcised, and the second Passover comes, are they allowed to come? I mean, are they allowed to partake in the second Passover, or do they have to wait till the following year?
Now you said if
say you got circumcised,
you got circumcised,
you got well,
and you got what? Is that before the first Passover?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, before the first Passover.
Then the second Passover. Are they allowed to come to Passover since they're circumcised, or do they have to wait the following year?
Of course, they have to do and take place in that second Passover. And not only that, but in your scheduling, if you can get it done before that second Passover, which would be better for that person to put it within their schedule, right? To actually schedule that, get circumcised. They missed the first Passover, but just make sure that it falls within that second Passover that's coming over. But yes, they do, and they have to because of the covenant.
Did you bring out that precept in the law in Numbers 9?
No, we can bring it out though. What she's speaking about?
9 and 9.
Got it. Numbers chapter 9.
Book of Numbers, chapter 9, and verse 9.
Right, because we're just going to explain stuff about the dead bodies, how the brothers wasn't able to keep it. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or your posterity shall be unclean by reason of dead body, or be a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord.
Right there. So now it gives another. It said, if the journey be too far. So let's say a person was circumcised, but he wasn't able at this particular time in Jerusalem, right? But that's how things was taken done. That if he couldn't make it, then he damn sure better make it the second Passover. Okay. Go ahead.
Or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord the 14th day of the second month. At even they shall keep it, and eat of the unleavened bread and bitter herbs.
That's right. Now, also, his 7 days of unleavened bread starts that particular second Passover as well. Okay. Excellent. Beautiful. Love the question. So let's go to Second Chronicles. Okay, Second Chronicles chapter 35. Second Chronicles chapter 35. We're gonna start at 1. I just want to bring out, like, throughout history, of how when we found out about the Passover and how we wasn't conducting ourselves accordingly, that we got ourselves in order quick. We start rehearsing. We start doing. Okay. Start at 1.
Look at Second Chronicles chapter 35, verse 1. Moreover, Josiah kept a Passover unto the Lord in Jerusalem, and they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. And he set the priests in their charges, and encouraged them to the service of the house of the Lord, and said unto the Levites that taught all Israel, which were holy unto the Lord, Put the holy ark in the house which Solomon the son of David, king of Israel, did build. It shall not be a burden upon your shoulders. Serve now the Lord your God and his people Israel.
But how do you once again, up in verse 1, I was saying that we kept that Passover and we did it according to the date that was actually established.
I'm following you, but I just want to, because it just stuck in my mind. When you were saying we, earlier you were saying we regarding how we was keeping the Passover as like the congregation.
Right.
And now we're dealing with Israel coming out the wilderness and not keeping it as prescribed by the law in certain aspects. So I just wanted to be clear. We've always kept the Passover, at least for me. In the truth, we always kept the Passover. We got better at learning how to keep it more perfectly according to the law.
Okay.
So regarding the leavening products, we started learning more about the specifics, not just wheat, yeast.
Right.
As we grew, we learned more about different ingredients, stuff like that. Doing the actual whole lamb as opposed to the chop. We thinking chops is good enough.
Right.
It's like, well, no, actually, let's get to finding out how we can actually do a whole lamb more perfect by the scripture.
Okay.
So, whatever, 10 years ago or something like that, we started actually doing the whole lamb. But I just don't want nobody to think, well, they were going to keep the Passover for a while. They just started figuring it out. Like, no.
Okay.
We can't keep the Passover. We just got better and better at doing it according to the scriptures and more to the word, as opposed to, because I just want to make sure nobody's confused.
Right.
We, like, pardons are referencing the scriptures of 40 years in the wilderness, nobody was circumcised. Then when in Joshua, they got circumcised and kept them. And then, I don't know, I just don't want to.
Okay.
I got confused a little bit. I'm like, is he saying we learned better and we started doing it, or we wasn't doing
Okay.
it?
As
So
a nation.
it just makes sure it's clear. Because sometimes people be like, they're wrong with that. Oh, they just start keeping. How long are they been doing the Passover now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, no, we've been doing the Passover for years, but we wasn't doing it as perfect as the scriptures pronounce. We learned more and more about how to get it better. Better.
Okay.
Until we are doing more about it.
Prophesying in part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn more about the ingredients, more about the Sabbath and keeping it on particular days and the first and the last of the day. You grow.
Right. I wish I could pass the mic, but because I know they probably didn't hear it. So,
They can hear, but I don't know if it's
okay.
You can break it down.
All right. Well, Erica was just telling me that to make it clear that this is not our first time, discovering how to do and conduct the Passover the proper way according to the scriptures. We've always done the Passover. When I say we, I mean the congregations that we've been blessed with, over the years. And but we just got more. We were blessed more and more with more information of how to conduct it the proper way, in a way according to the scriptures. Like, for instance, he said the leaven. We've always knew about the leaven. Matter of fact, we always knew about Passover when we came into the truth, which is some years ago. And we knew about cleaning our houses and certain products, finding that there was other unclean things in the products, that the food and the lotions and things like that we found out about. So we started eliminating those as well. Then, like he said, at one point in time we did have the chops, and then we researched, and Most High blessed us with actually conducting a live lamb, right? So when I kind of bring out certain things, it's what I'm saying. What he was saying is that this is nothing new. We always done the Passover, but the Most High blessed us and advanced us with more information to conduct it according to the scriptures. Okay, I hope that was clear.
Yeah. Like
Rasha?
Daniel said, and you alluded to it earlier in your lesson, that as the scripture said in Exodus 12, that this should be practiced throughout our generations, so we can learn a more perfect way and a better way to serve the Most High.
Okay.
And Daniel did say knowledge shall
Increase. Absolutely.
I'm gonna get it the first time. You have to learn year in, year out.
That's right.
That whole thing.
That's right.
like the seasons.
There's some congregations just doing their first live lambs now. That's been around for
That's
years.
true.
That didn't know. We've been doing it for almost a decade.
Yeah. Almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
So a lot of churches catching up.
Like you brought up, that Judges 5 and 11, rehearsing.
That plug ain't there? Black plug?
Yeah, but that's made to charge. It's too powerful.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have had that plug there. Okay. Okay. So just wanted to kind of make that little clear. But but like you say, shoot, we here. You can reach out to us, and we can tell you how to go about it now that we learned. How to actually do the live lamb service. Yeah. And not only that, but on our search, we had to find out we got 2 other farms just in case one farm didn't have it. But we've been blessed. We've been blessed over the years that it's one particular one that we go to, Brother Abdul, and he's an Ishmaelite. And what we like about his farm is that he has no pigs on his farm. He has no pigs on his farm. To most farms, they have a little variety of everything, but this particular one, there's no pigs on his farm. So like I said, over the years we've been blessed. So just want to bring out this one in Chronicles. Where we at? Did we finish with that?
Second Chronicles chapter 35 and verse 1.
Okay. Did we read 3? Read 3.
We read number. We'll start over again.
No,
verse 3.
Yeah, read 3, and then because I want to go to 19 and 18.
The book of Second Chronicles chapter 35 and verse 3. And said unto the Levites that taught all Israel, which were holy unto the Lord, put the holy ark in the house which Solomon the son of David, king of Israel, did build. It shall not be a burden upon your shoulders. Serve now the Lord your God and his people Israel.
And his people Israel. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. So all the service of the Lord was prepared the same day to keep the Passover and to offer burnt offerings upon the altar to the Lord according to the commandment of King Josiah.
Read on.
And the children of Israel that were present kept the Passover at that time, and the feast of unleavened bread 7 days.
7 days. So just wanted to bring that out throughout history that the children of Israel, continue, right, to keep this ordinance, this holy day, throughout our generations, as it said. My last one, let's go to Ezra. Book of Ezra. And I'm going to start at verse 6. Chapter 6, I'm sorry. Chapter 6, verse 18. See, we're getting better, getting a little bit more quicker. A little bit more quicker. But no, I understand that. A little bit up or down. Verse 18. Oh, okay, gotcha. 6 and 18. That's true, because like I said, and that's a funny thing too, because over the years, each one of us have a turn where we would do the sacrifice, meaning the slaughter of the lamb. And I remember when my turn came up, it was an ordeal to see something that was live, and then at my hands to see the blood running. It brought some reality. It brought a reality check about Christ and the blood that he shed for, children of Israel. It's something that I would never, in my experience, I would never forget. And it's funny because I think I had some shoes on and the blood kind of splashed on my shoes. And I'm like, wow, that blood is on my feet. It's just around me. And it was just an experience. It was an experience that I will never forget, though. And as I, Passover rolls around, I always remember that first time. Oh, don't do me that. It's really because it moved me. It really, the brother said, "You up again this year?" But no, it really moved me. It moved me because I knew, why it was done, and what we were doing. So it was something.
But not everyone. You have to have a certain title in your congregation in order for you to.
Uh, in a way, yes, we let the elders do it. Yeah, we let the elders do it. But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because you got to really understand what you're doing.
Yeah, but that's the reason I asked, because you could be like, oh, well, my 10-year-old son gone. I'm just
Okay.
asking.
Okay. No. 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 You got to understand, like you say, what you're doing, and but I get your point. I get your point. Verse 18.
Book of Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 18. And they set the priests in their divisions, and the Levites in their courses, for the service of God which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the first month.
Right. Now I love when they say the children of the captivity, because here we are again, the children of the captivity, and we're keeping our Passover. Go ahead.
For the priests and the Levites were purified together. All of them were pure, and killed the Passover for the children of the captivity, and for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves.
Okay. So once again, I just wanted to kind of bring out this point in time in history of how we conduct ourselves as we do today, and to keep this holy convocation. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And the children of Israel, which were come again out of captivity,
Mm-hmm.
and all such had separated themselves unto them from the filthiness of the heathen of the land.
Mm-hmm. Now that's what we got to do. That's what we do during our 7 days. We're actually cleansing ourselves from the filthiness of the land. Because once it's me and my wife always say, like, wow, if we can just continue to eat this unleavened bread, man, I'm telling you, the pounds drop off quick. Okay, but we understand the reason why, because it helps your digestive system. The unleavened bread does. So that's what we're doing. We're actually purging out the old leaven. Okay, read on.
And the children of Israel, which were come again out of the captivity, and all such as separated themselves unto them from the children of from the filthiness of the heathen of the land, to seek the Lord God of Israel, did eat.
So now it says that we're seeking. Read. Go back up there again. It said the filthiness of the land, seeking the Lord God of Israel, did eat. Oh, I'm sorry. Just okay. 22.
Verse 22. And kept the feast of the unleavened bread 7 days with joy.
Mm-hmm. Right, with joy. Go ahead.
For the Lord had made them joyful.
Now, another thing with that unleavened bread, once we kind of set aside all of the bread, the yeast, and the donuts and things like that, we got creative with the unleavened bread. We do peanut butter and jelly. We do pizza. I mean, Israel always gonna get creative once we are put in a certain situation, but we keep things lawful. What else we do with the unleavened bread? The corn tortilla. Corn tortilla. Yeah. Then they actually start to make their own unleavened bread. Some of it came out hard as a rock, but they kept trying, and eventually they got it. Then they started putting a little spice on it. One time they had cinnamon and honey. Yeah. Raisins. Yeah. So we got creative with the unleavened bread, and like I said, it definitely helps the digestive system. It moves you, and everything else that's up there. So 22 is from the top.
Verse 22. And kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy. For the Lord had made them joyful, and turned the heart of the king of Assyria unto them.
Isn't that something? How the Most High turned the heart of the Assyrian king and had favor with the children of Israel? But that happened all throughout history. All throughout, with the same thing is going to happen this time. They hate us now, but as with the time we was in Egypt with all of the plagues and things like that, they had Israel in a whole different mind state. And even it said that all the other nations round about, it said their heart melted when they seen the children of Israel. So who's to say that this won't happen this time? Okay, go ahead.
and turn the heart of the king of Assyria unto them to strengthen their hands in the works of their house of their God, the God of Israel.
The God of Israel. Strengthen our hands. So that's my last scripture, but just wanted to kind of bring just the spirit of Passover out, you know, and just to let our people know that the Most High still has His light shining upon us, and He will protect us in the future coming up, which is dire and coming fast. You know, there's a lot of things that's happening in the spirit right now with these other nations and war and the economy and things like that. So we're going to see some dramatic changes. All praise to the Most High, because it's all directed towards our deliverance from this captivity we're in now, which is the last captivity that we will be in. Thus said the Lord. So with that, I say shalom and enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. Here.